Hey, welcome back to the NEET podcast. Today I'm joined by Nick,
Dude, anime in a podcast?
Ethan,
Hey, what's up, everybody? I have a confession. I downloaded an app. Not just any app.
this is crazy.
It's called Vixen Wars. Check it out. Private browser though.
Okay, and I'm Eli, your wholesome co-host. And last but certainly not least, we have Travis.
Hey man, I kind of forgot about my intro because I was laughing at Nick's too hard.
Oh, okay. Together, we're NEET. Now, this is the NEET podcast where we talk about our totally biased and unprofessional opinions on different shows and anime. This week, we watched the anime Another. Not just another show, we watched a show called Another. Now, this show has some special properties, so we had to call in a specialist. Joining us today, we have our local edgelord Curtis. Curtis, hi.
How's it going?
How you doing today, man?
I am really excited actually.
You want to explain kind of like your relation to us? Like you're not just some random guy.
No, I'm definitely just some random. You just met a homeless man on the street.
Yeah, I
Part
was-
of the squad.
I hired him off
Discord.
Fiverr.
No,
I was
I'm
actually
part
at
of
work,
you guys'
and he
trash
came
video
in
game squad
while I was
for
working.
the
I
last
was
like
like,
6 years.
hey man, you want to be on our podcast? And he was like, sure. So
He
yeah.
puts the O in Nito because
Ye-
Curtis starts with O.
It definitely does. You should don't Google it. It definitely starts with O.
All right. So anyway,
Another. What do we all think, guys?
yeah, let's just start at the top here. Nick, take it away.
No, somebody else do it.
All right.
Okay.
Curtis,
Whatever.
our
Alright,
guest.
Curtis, what do you think about this, bro?
Since I normally like these kind of shows, because I'm just absolutely garbage as a person, I thought it was all right. I wouldn't say you know. It's
Okay,
okay.
wait. So you hyped it up, and then you're just like,
Yeah,
it was all
yeah.
right.
Well, no,
It wasn't the
'cause,
best,
like it's
but
like in my field, but at the same time, I wouldn't say it's one of the better ones.
Curtis,
Nah,
what would you
I agree
explain
with
as
that.
your field?
My field.
yeah. What's your
just,
taste?
Just gore and horror and just
Can
like.
you give us a couple of like examples?
So
of,
you're a
like,
masochist.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. Well, first of all,
Or
another Tokyo Ghoul, Parasite. Kind of those two are kind of
Okay,
softer.
Those
We
two are
have
pretty hype though.
Oh fuck! Corpse Party is really good. I've read all the Corpse Party mangas. What else is there? I'm really sleepy right now, so I can't.
You're a professional. We get the point.
Yeah, no,
True.
Yeah.
you've made your point.
I've read pretty much
that's
any
enough from
manga
you.
that's horror at this point that I've found.
Fair enough. So this one's right in the middle.
I'd say it's the. I don't want to get my ranking yet, but yeah, it's near the.
It's. I feel like it's less of like a blood and gore and more of like a suspense horror type deal.
Yeah.
Without spoiling anything, you all talked really highly of it. Went back.
Yeah, that
Did everybody else seen it before this?
I think.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I watched
have.
it a
I've
while
seen
back.
it before
yeah.
this, and I watched it
So-
like I think like a long time ago actually.
I watched
I-
it whenever me and Travis were living together. I don't
Yeah.
know, like sometime in the last year.
So I was the
Did
only one
you
watching it for the first
Into
time.
the lore of YouTube.
But
Did you guys know this aired in 2012?
You
Yes.
can tell
oh,
from
wait,
the
no,
art
I thought it
style.
was 10.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
It is pretty
Holy
old.
cow.
I didn't know it was that old though.
I figured it was
Oh,
like
man.
2014 or so. But rewatching it, and again, this is the spoiler-free segment. I guess the rest of it will be filled with spoilers because this is kind of one of the anime review. We're talking about anime in titles. But rewatching it, I definitely had a lot of issues rewatching it. Like I had, it just wasn't as good. Let's
You
put
think
it
you
that way.
start to pick apart some intricacies in it whenever you
Yeah.
rewatch it? 'Cause I definitely did. I was rewatching it and I was like, that made way more sense whenever I was going into it fresh than when
Yeah.
I've already seen it and I'm picking everything else out
I mean,
now.
because it's a horror anime, it
Yes.
plays on like twists and general horror tropes of like suspense
That's true.
twists, where you kind of don't know what's going on for the majority of it, and then all of a sudden it just kind of throws a bunch of information at you.
I
And
feel like
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
it
like there's a
does.
good-
It does definitely. Sorry. Go ahead.
there's a good there's a good like I think like probably like 2 to 3 episodes just devoted to exposition in the show.
Yeah.
The first whole
and-
part of it.
Yeah, until like about episode like 3, I'd say it's just mostly no, because it doesn't really tell you that much in episode 1, and then around episode 3 things start to kick off a little bit. But if you've already seen episode 3, you know what happens in it, where it kicks off,
Mhm.
and you're just kind of waiting for that first thing to happen. We're not talking about spoilers right now, but like the second it happens, I'm just like, oh, I now get the entire gist of what's going to happen in the show.
So, saying
point.
that, I think we can get into our spoiler detailed discussion.
Yeah.
So for the first part of it, I know
Oh, wait,
myself
now-
personally, I thought.
Can we
thought
start
she
with
was
like
a
the
ghost.
major flaws in the whole horror aspect of it? Because horror is just a crapshoot of a genre, anyways.
I mean, it's generally the most low budget genre out there.
I've
It
made my
doesn't-
profession
doesn't
as
have to
useless.
be. I don't know.
Apparently,
I don't
I'll
know
It doesn't.
say
why-
It
later.
doesn't.
It doesn't have to be, but
why,
for some
why
reason
does
it
the whole
always
genre
is.
have a
You know what I mean?
no?
Yeah.
Like
It's
you always
At
see
the end of the
these
day, it's
pumped
literally,
out horror
like
movies.
how you
like,
introduce me. It's
from
literally just
Blumhouse.
edgelord.
Okay, well,
stuff.
in this anime sense, so they're in a school
Mhm.
that's
Yes.
cursed. Every year, people are dying, right?
Yep.
Why would this school still be open? Like, why, right?
No, it's not because it's not the school. It's just the class.
Okay, but still, so
It's just
why
class 3, I
have
think.
class? Why would they even have class 3 anymore? This has been going on for 25 years. Why would they have class 3? Okay.
People are stabbing
I
themselves in the
think-
room,
well,
no,
and then
they
the
also
kids come to
it
class the
explains
next
it.
day.
Yeah.
It explains
Yeah.
that after that class graduates or they all, or die, the memory fades of that class's year, what happened to them. That's why they leave in like
No,
episode.
no,
like,
no,
No,
later
but they
episodes,
still
leave
know that
tapes
there's a
and whatnot.
curse.
They still
They
know
still
about
know
the
that
kids
there's
aren't
a
the
curse.
ones
They
that
don't
have
think
the
people die
ability
though,
to shut
it
down
kind
the
of
school.
wipes your memory of it.
Okay.
basically.
No, they
You don't
still know
remember
that something
year.
happened. The only thing they forget is who was the dead person, and if the dead person was even
Yeah.
there.
And put
Yeah,
it.
And
put
also how they either beat it or didn't beat it, because
Yeah.
in 2 different years the
Yeah.
previous classes were able to beat it.
So they're still aware that there's a catastrophe, but not like
It. So let's put
Okay,
it
Yeah,
this way.
why
that's
With
one
are
of the,
people
like,
outside the
plot holes
class
that we
trying to
were-
shut it down? Yeah.
Let's put it this way: the entire like administration, like it explains this because I rewatched a bit of it today, kind of to refresh the refresher, I guess. But it explains like the faculty of the school are involved on it, and they're told to kind of work with it the best they can. But to me, that just kind of felt loose, you know.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like if I was
like,
a,
why
like,
wouldn't
I
the
don't even, like,
faculty
a-
just shut it down or get rid of class 3 altogether? Like, that's the thing.
feel
Like,
like
why
if you
wouldn't the
if
school
Okay.
board or whatever
and
they
that's a
in that
point
sense.
I want to talk about.
Yes.
It might seem like that's stupid, and it really is stupid because in real life, any other genre, anything that school or that class would be shut down. But it's
this
not
is
shut
anime.
down. It's not shut down because it's a hopeless situation, and that's what they're thrown into. Why would they still have it? These poor kids are hopelessly thrown into class 3 every year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's something stupid, but it's just a completely hopeless situation, and it's kind of they kind of want that to be the fear that they're giving you.
I wonder if because
guess.
they point out, well, they don't point it out, but if you're paying attention to the certain characters, there's like 3 characters in the class, like students, that are like sickly and not super well. I wonder if like
They're culling off the weak.
if they're putting them in there because they're like whatever. I feel like that's not the case, but I feel like if this was a real life situation, you would want to put, if you're just like a monster, just like the less off
So you're
into
saying
that scenario.
you're
Well, I thought they
saying
usually
the
did
kid
like
with
class 1
diabetes gets
smarter,
thrown in there.
class.
I have no
thought-
idea how Japan works.
Isn't
like
isn't
that.
it usually
I
like
don't
class
know.
1 is like
class
this,
3 is
class
like
2's this?
typically the delinquent
But I
class.
thought that the
Yeah.
Class
student,
C
was it
or-
the
or
student
D or
council
whatever it
president, or
was.
was just the president was
No,
in
she
that
was-
class?
No, she was just the head of countermeasures.
She was the head of countermeasures, but they didn't
Okay.
explain that to him, so it was kind of like set up as her being the air quote
She
president.
was terrible at that
The-
job, by the way.
She was.
I mean, near
Everything
the
just
end,
kind of
she's really
went to
bad at
shit
that
really
job.
fast.
Or not.
And
no.
then she was just like, "No, sorry, we can't talk to you no more." And he was just without explaining it. That was
And then like what?
that was the
episode-
stupidest thing.
That-
Because
well,
they
that's
never
it,
start
explained
talking
anything to him.
again? Like, it just
That's
doesn't make
another
sense.
thing is it seems like so much of it could have been avoided, which is the complete
Right.
horror way out of everything.
I-
Everything is everyone is super clueless, and everybody is super like they don't ever go about doing anything the easy way.
to your point, it's almost like you're forced to watch the anime and just understand that it's completely apart from reality, and this
Yeah.
isn't even trying to be realistic. You're watching this with a giant disclaimer that
Yeah.
basically is telling you nothing here makes any sense. Roll with it and enjoy it, which I found really hard to do, but
Exactly.
I guess
But that's the
I
think
prefer
that's
my
the whole
horror to be
horror
grounded
genre.
in reality. That's why,
it doesn't have to be the whole horror
like,
genre. There are other horror
But
shows,
even
animes.
even even if that is the whole thing, it's not really the fact that it's not a real situation because of course it's very very fictional.
Mhm.
It's the fact that they're thrown into the fictional situation and they don't have any control of it because they're
My
just brainless.
yeah, my biggest
You have to
problem was
think about
it's
it in
not.
the way of like horror over here in the West is like, oh, we should split up if there's a killer on the loose. Normally, you wouldn't really want to do that in real life,
Yeah,
but you wouldn't have a movie or a show if like they were
the
just
situation
completely
is incredibly unbelievable,
yeah.
but the situation they're put in doesn't. The anime doesn't try to be super unrealistic.
no.
So I'm kind of stuck between it not really going off the rails itself, but the idea of it all is just so bizarre that it doesn't really mesh with what's going on the screen to me.
I I can agree with that. I like my horror to be a little bit more grounded in reality. Like Tokyo Ghoul, for example. I know you mentioned it earlier, Curtis, but
Yeah.
I understand Tokyo Ghoul is like this super weird concept, and I've read all the manga for it. Uh,
It's
so I'm not just coming in from an anime perspective, but it's to me Tokyo Ghoul, even though it's completely a different fictional thing, is that there is like a rule set that makes it seem to be grounded in reality.
well,
Like
Yeah.
it's parallel with our
Yeah.
own, but it has
yes.
this
Can I
one
give
thing
an
in it.
In that specific manga and or anime, it also goes into like how the world works in
Yeah,
that
it world
scenario.
builds.
And in this,
That's
I feel like it tries to, and it
it.
just
It
doesn't get
definitely just
there.
exposition dumps.
can I give a
Yeah.
foil to that example?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
My favorite anime is Danganronpa, and it's the whole. You can call it a horror. It's the whole other side of the spectrum. It is so unbelievable. It's not trying to make any sense. That's like the whole point of it.
Mhm.
It's like a satire on the genre. This anime was neither. It was like a confused middle ground.
I I guess I
Yeah,
can see that.
I
That
could
that
see
makes
makes
it.
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel like when I watch it, I take out the whole this could even be real because it's
Yeah.
a stupid high school curse and
Okay, hold on. So I want to insert this real quick. So they make a point in the show. I watched 8 episodes of it today, so this is still fresh.
Wow.
They make a point to say this isn't a curse actually. They just say that it's like any other thing, like an earthquake or a tsunami. So they
A
compare
natural
this thing
disaster
to
kind
a
of deal.
natural disaster.
Like
Like
a
it could happen to
phenomenon,
anyone.
which doesn't. I feel like that makes it worse.
no,
They
it
just
makes it feel more hopeless.
I feel like
They
I'd
they just
rather
have
it
no
be a
control over the
curse.
situation.
I suppose, yeah.
And that's kind of the fear that they're building on. Like I don't even think
You're
in this
just
one
screwed.
it's a pretty gory show, but they don't
Oh
even
yeah.
use the gore as like a way of portraying the horror or
Yeah. Well, they also you say it's hopeless, but there is a way that the students can get out of the curse if
yeah,
they're in
but
the
they're so
class.
stupid and
All you, yeah.
they make the situation more hopeless by their actions.
Like, what was the student? I can't think of the student that in the boating incident,
oh
in the
yeah
beach episode, like episode
There
eight
was no
ish.
need for that.
yeah
They
he didn't have
mentioned
to
that
die.
the reason because they're out of,
They're out of town, and
they're out of
supposedly
town,
it's supposed to stop
and
after they leave town.
if you're out of town, you are free of the curse. But apparently, he had like a head injury beforehand
Hmm.
that was gonna kill him eventually. So he was already walking dead, and
Basically,
the
yeah.
boating incident didn't like cut him into tiny pieces and make that murder happen. It just caused his head injury to quicken. Which shows that they're trying to like play by their own rules, I guess.
Most of
But
the
it
deaths were
also
like
shows that
found.
like even if there's a way out,
Yeah.
there's a good chance you're just not gonna make it out.
I definitely
Yeah.
preferred it whenever the deaths were just kind of found, like they happened and then you found out, like you were just like, oh, like the one where he's on
Really?
the phone with the nurse, and it just kind of like happens in that sense. That one was good, but I think that's the only
That
one.
one was crazy. That one
I think that's the only one that I really like. I enjoyed. As bad
We're
as it
actually gonna
sounds.
get into that a little later on. So I want to
Okay.
lead into that later.
Um, but I
We
think
should
that one was the best.
let's actually
Should
let's
we-
talk about the actual curse.
Yeah, we haven't gone
We've been
into
we've
really
been
what it is
talking
yet.
about the curse though, but so
Ethan, do you
I
want
feel
to
like
take
there's
this
so
up, or
much
do you want
I
me
feel
to
like there's
explain
so
it?
much about the curse that every episode they almost made up a new rule for it, but
Yeah.
whatever. Someone explain it.
So
Do you want-
basically, the
yeah.
curse started out, what's it, 26 years before the events of the show.
26, yes.
So, in essence, what it was is they explained it was a guy. For the longest time, I thought it was a girl for some reason.
Because his
That's
name
what they
is
wanted you to
Misaki.
think.
Yeah, that is what wanted you to think. There was a guy who was like really popular. Da 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 da. Well, then he died. And everybody in the classroom basically just kind of pretended that he was still alive, including like the teacher and stuff. And so eventually they took a photo, and in the photo it was super haunting. Although you never really saw the actual photo. I don't
You
recall.
yeah, it showed it.
Oh,
It
did
showed
It shows it. It shows the guy
In the very last
in-
episode, it like zooms in on the picture. It shows the picture for like half a second, but then it zooms in on the guy, and he's got like the glow of death around him.
Yes.
Anyway, then there's this picture where there's the guy who died shows up in the picture. And then from then on out, they basically invited death in the classroom, where somebody who had died would come back as an extra or another. There'd be another student, hence the title of the show. And so that kind of went on. And if they had too many or they had too many students because the other person was thrown in there. If they didn't, which I don't know why they couldn't get another desk, but that's fine. They didn't have
And
enough
two
desks.
extras show up.
2 extra shows.
And then 3, and then
just
that's why
keeps
they can't
going.
get. Dude, that's why they can't get rid of the class.
I guess
because
so.
then the class just appears.
I guess.
So it's basically if there was an extra person in the classroom than there was supposed to be on the roster, people
Then-
would start dying until
yeah.
the roster would balance out, kind of.
And
But
their
if the
way-
person who wasn't the actual dead person wasn't the one dying, then
It continues.
they kept dying
And the
until
way
that dead person died.
they counterbalance this is by they
Pretending it,
pretend
yeah.
that a student in the class doesn't exist, so that it kind of balances out. Like, because you have the student that is the extra, but nobody knows really who it is,
Alright,
because their memories are all altered.
Does the ghost know that they're the dead?
No,
No,
the
they
ghost does not know that they're dead. Their
Okay, I
memories
didn't
also
I didn't
altered.
even I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Yes.
their memories are
Um,
altered.
So there's literally no way of telling who the extra is, which is why they just decide, like, we're gonna pick you to pretend you don't exist, so that there's, let's just say that now there's exactly 20 of us instead of 21.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's a lot more humane way of doing it than just randomly starting to murder people like they did.
Battle
That's-
Royale.
they
yeah,
did later on.
they just battle
in
royale
the
it.
show.
They just went straight I was gonna say PUBG, but I wanted a more obscure battle royale.
Arma 3, is that a battle royale? I don't think it is actually.
Call of Duty Mobile
Fortnite.
battle royale.
Fortnite.
Minecraft
mobile.
Hunger Games.
Minecraft Hunger Games was the original battle royale. Changed my
No.
mind. So
Hunger
yeah,
Games
the
was
curse.
original battle royale.
That's the basics of the curse, and then
The
they added a bunch of stuff onto it throughout the show, which I can't even remember all the stuff they added to it. Like as I
There's
was
a lot of stuff.
rewatching it, I was like, wait, that's part of the curse. Like you remember that that part that we explained? That's the most basic part. Really, that's all you really need to know.
What we explain is what the show gives you in its full context, and the rest of it is just kind of up for,
Yeah.
I guess, debate. Like they kind of bend it every once in a while.
But,
as to
I mean that's
The-
horror.
The confusing thing to
that's
me
that's
though,
true.
they were just like, yeah, one person dies a month, whether it's a student or someone connected to a student's family.
But
Is
they
it a
didn't
mo-
die.
but then-
Did they really die every month? I feel like
No,
multiple
I
people
thought it was,
died
like,
in
once a
Multiple
one
people
month.
died in
or-
1 month.
No, they called it. They
Yeah.
said month, but then yeah, more people
But then there's
died
like
in a
3
month.
deaths in the span of
Yeah.
2 days.
So
That's what it
that
felt
was,
like, but I guess-
yeah. I mean, maybe
I don't think it was
a
really
month.
2 days. I don't think it really was 2 days because they
Anime.
somehow
'Cause
like
anime.
went to a beach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it's
that's
mentioned
true.
the
They
date.
also
The date's
go
mentioned.
over. I think there's like a total.
I think it did mention the date a few
breaks
times.
where
Yeah,
they're not
it
in
does.
school and they're just doing.
Because I know
stuff.
Well,
the whole show it was based on like they thought that it started in May, but it actually started in April.
with what's her name? Maze.
Yeah.
Is it twin?
I can almost say for sure that the month thing was not paid attention to the entire
No,
time.
it was.
No,
I think
it
you can just
definitely
yeah.
wasn't.
That's one of the things that they just kind of bend it. They're like, oh, it's every month, and then you're like, wait,
Then they're
but
just
hang
they
on
just
a
get their
second.
kill boner on. and
3
they just
people
start
died
going down.
today. I'm confused.
Yeah.
And they just
So-
play it off.
I think that was the curse itself, which
So that,
the natural disaster. It was definitely a curse. Like we have no doubt about it. It's a curse.
Yeah.
That they
Yeah.
just were kind of like, it's not a curse, but it's a curse. I think that was probably one of the bigger flaws of the show, just because there was a lot of things that were just left, like a lot of loose ends left because of that. And you're like, well, why didn't this happen? Like we talked about earlier. So now
I think let's
mention the main
let's
character.
move into let's just instead of the main character, let's actually like talk about every character.
That was-
Yes.
It's pretty easy because most of the characters, even though they got quite a bit of screen time, I feel like half the show I did not even know their names.
Right? And then they're like,
Well,
But-
there's a lot
person
of, like, the
died, and you're like,
classmates that
Okay.
don't get
who?
introduced until like 10, and you're like, wait,
Yeah.
you were here? Like I saw your picture.
I
Like, I've
figured it
seen
out
you.
though. So like the point of not having good character progression in a show like this
Yes.
and stuff like that, like it wasn't really needed, even though like it kind of sucks when you don't know the names of people.
Yeah.
But they don't want you. The problem, I don't think they want you to feel attached to the characters at all because they don't want you feeling bad when the characters die. That is not what they're trying to portray when characters die.
It's
Is that
more of
not-
just
is that-
shock value, I'd
They
say.
yeah, they
It's-
don't want you to feel bad for people when they die. They want you to feel bad for maybe the class as a whole as of what they're going through, but they don't want you to feel bad for like, oh no, my favorite character died. That's not at all what
They're
this
not-
kind of show is going
They're
for.
playing it too safe, is what I think. Like they should have, because my favorite horrors are where you get attached to said character, and you're or like a bunch of characters, and you don't want to see anything bad happen to them, but you already know that. Well, the next like game's coming up, so something bad's gonna happen to somebody.
But that's like
and I,
that's
that's-
not even the tone of this show at all.
God no.
So I don't know. It sucks because like this is you guys want me to say the dumb statement now, like that I was talking about
Say
before
the-
the show?
I'd love,
Yeah.
I'd love to
say
hear
it.
it.
I want
Okay.
to hear it. Go for
Say
it.
it. I'm ready.
So the ghost, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was the teacher, Miss Misaki.
Yep.
His aunt, right?
I didn't
Yeah,
know it was his aunt.
Reiko.
You
I
did?
didn't. I had
Yeah,
no clue that it was
okay,
Reiko.
Well, they explain it that they didn't want
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It
everybody
flashed
in the
back
class
to that.
know.
It's
so
supposed to
stupid
be-
that
it's
we
the-
don't know though.
It's supposed to be the big
It's-
twist.
it's
it
supposed
should've
to be a big
gone into it,
reveal.
Like episode
Oh!
1 should have been like,
It was supposed to be a reveal.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to be a twist.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a twist that he's like, oh no.
Wait.
Which is dumb because the protagonist should know that, like off the bat. There's no way he doesn't recognize her.
Well, see, I thought she was just like brain slow or stupid or something because she was like always like,
I like how you
my
worked it out.
my poor head, it hurts really bad. But no, she was actually just freaking dead.
the whole time.
That doesn't have to have
Uh,
anything to do with it.
I feel like there's
Yeah, it
no
does.
correlation.
She has no memories of
She
anything.
has brain dead.
Well, she has
Yeah,
memories.
she
it's
does.
just-
She has memories
it
of her
edits
class.
her memories so that she doesn't know that.
Yeah,
she
it edits her
died.
memories, but she doesn't have any memories of the past, basically. Like whenever he'd ask like what happened in my mom's class, she had no clue because
No, but she
it
remembers
doesn't need
her
to
own
give her those
class.
she remembers her class,
Yeah.
but she doesn't remember her mom's class.
She remembers parts of her class.
To be fair, it was a
I feel
long
like that's
time
just
ago.
how like when you get
Yeah,
older, you
it
just
was,
don't
but like she
remember.
was super useless when it came to him asking that
but
kind of stuff
it's-
A
because
lot
her
of these
memories
characters
did,
are also
her
super
memories
dumb.
didn't need to know that.
Not once during it was I like, wow, this person is especially useless. In fact, I
I
assumed
did.
that we were supposed to.
character.
I assumed that we were supposed to make the connection that it was this person. I didn't realize it was supposed to be a twist. I went through
Okay,
the whole
so-
thing being like, oh, she just does two things in the show. That's fine.
So wait,
And they just don't
did
explain
it actually tell the rules? Because like at the end before he kills her, it's like rule number 5: keep my private life and work life separate.
Yeah.
What?
Did it ever say
What?
that?
I think
It never said that.
It never said
rule
it?
Number,
Maybe.
he said rule number 3.
wait,
keep
can I
uphold
Yeah,
point
the
out-
class rules, and then
Yeah.
pause there.
One thing before
Okay.
we fully jump into what like we go down the list of characters. They're in middle school. Could
Ninth
you
grade.
imagine
Bruh.
9th grade.
being in middle? Yeah, it's a Yomiyama Middle School.
Sure.
It
Junior high.
is-
Junior high.
That must suck.
We're suspending belief here 100%. We've already established this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing makes any sense. We've
Needs to be 35-year-olds at a high school, and I still it'd be the same girl.
I could be
Like-
watching
like
a Netflix
Spider-Man, like the
docudrama
original
right
Spi-
now. I could be watching Tall Girl on Netflix.
This
I'd be
could
like,
be
yep.
a
shouldn't- you really
hentai, and I
shouldn't
would
watch
still
that, though.
hate it.
Brad the Weeb, join us.
You're terrible.
You know what this show reminds me of?
What?
It's not a
Hentai.
good show that I've watched. Not hentai.
You do watch a lot of that though too.
Okay.
Trav was right.
So my two things now are just JoJo's and hentai. All right, I'm okay with
That's what we correlate you to.
that. No, this reminded me, and Curtis is probably one of the only ones that's seen this. King's Game.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, Eli's
Oh,
seen it.
I've read
It's
King's
awesome.
Game and then King's Game Origin.
This reminded me a lot of King's
It's the
Game.
same thing. It's the
Yeah.
same.
It's the same
wait,
thing.
It's literally the
same
same.
thing.
Well, then again, a lot of horror manga and anime are pretty much the same concept with the exact same character archetypes in like a slightly different setting.
A classroom that kills each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
instead of-
literally.
I mean, that's like
It's
all in
really
nice.
Japan,
It's
though, right?
R-rated
That's just the
assassination.
that's just like the Japanese.
Is this based on a true story?
It's like always
Yeah.
like their horror is always about like curses and stuff.
And like tiny children having to murder each other.
But anyways, we're way off topic.
Yeah,
Shall
that
we just
was-
jump
I'm
into the
sorry.
main character then, really quick, and then we go down?
Yeah,
What-
just
the
go
one
to the
thing?
list. Start on the list.
So the main character who wants to who's doing it?
Isn't
should I
He's
do
it like
useless,
Sakaki
but
Bara?
he's useless because he's supposed to be useless.
Well, we should. All right. So the
He
main
has
character's name
collapsed
is
lung a couple times.
Koichi Sakakibara.
Sakakibara-kun.
And
Sakakibara.
I actually
Sakakibara-kun.
despise this main character.
Yeah, they
I
said he had a
really-
collapsed lung. I'm pretty sure he has brain trauma.
My only issue, not my
Got
main
him.
issue is like they
think he has
legit
smooth
like
brain.
introduce him.
Smooth brain.
Smooth.
His brain
they
is
literally
rock
they
solid.
literally start the show and he comes to school and they're like,
Brain
"Hey,
is a rock pet.
don't talk to that person." And the first thing he does
No, they
is
don't tell
talk
him.
to May.
No,
No,
they
they
don't
don't
tell
tell him.
It's implied though.
No, they
No.
don't.
No.
Like
doesn't.
everybody's ignoring her.
They say she
Oh.
the countermeasure was gone on the first day, and she even says, "I shouldn't have been gone for your first day."
Bruh.
Yeah,
If I'm gonna
I
go
s-
to a
oh, 'cause
school-
he meets her in the hospital. That's true.
If I'm gonna go to a new school and see some weird eye patch like pale
That's your-
ghost-like
that's your
lady sitting
immediate- that's your
there,
crush.
and I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to her, and then whenever I go to talk to her, the only guy that I know before then goes, "Don't talk to things that don't exist." You best bet I'm gonna go talk to them.
I
Yeah.
am not. I'm sorry.
Really?
You're a pussy.
Yeah, you're a
What?
pussy. Just put him on blast like that. Nice burpee, like.
Sorry. That's what the freaking guest
Okay.
gets. You little O and Nito, Kurdo. Anyways,
Name doesn't start.
Oh,
Sakakibara, he's
a
all right.
bitch.
I think it really hurt his feelings.
You're gonna make him have a
He
glass
has a
lung.
brain that is the exact same as a rock pet. with
And then,
googly eyes on it.
so
But the googly eyes fall off because the glue's
Wait.
not very good.
do you guys think his partner in crime, Mei Misaki, was better or worse than him?
I think she was better.
I think
She was
she's better.
definitely a better character.
For
Yeah,
some
I'm
reason, she could
useless.
see dead people with her
Yeah,
doll
that wasn't
eye.
explained.
She
That wasn't
waited a bit
explained.
long.
No,
She
no, but
waited a while.
she had like good reasoning behind it. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
really good reasoning in the whole sense like you're just gonna let people die by not telling them, but like
But they explain.
at least she was doing it because she cared for Sakakibara.
Yeah,
She didn't want to.
whatever.
She didn't want to.
Please call him Koichi.
Do you think she
Hold on,
feels
just like,
guilty
that's a long
for
name.
waiting so long?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Ye-
there's a
yeah,
lot
I
of
think
people
she
that
does.
died.
I mean,
Most
you
of the
can't
class
tell it.
died.
No, you
There
can
were
because
changes.
you can because the head of countermeasures Akizawa, she was like in the dining room, she was like, apologize now, and everyone was like, don't do that, that's bullcrap. But May was like, I'm sorry, because deep down inside she knew.
She knew. Can I
She
talk
knew.
about inconsistency with
It's
her
another awful
character?
One of the
character that nobody.
Yeah,
Another
With
give me,
the
give me
main
some
character.
for.
inconsistency.
Her eye, whenever we were first when we first saw it, her eye didn't move with her other eye. And towards the end, you see her looking at people with it.
Bro.
I actually didn't notice that. Does that actually happen?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
That's amazing.
Also, another big thing when they give the big reveal about how Misaki has a twin named Mei Misaki. She talks about how she didn't have an eye patch whenever they hung out, but then it shows the flashbacks and she's got an eye patch.
I want to point out.
No.
So the way they tell the story is that the mother, who's like the sculptor lady, right? of
She
May
makes dolls.
isn't actually her mother, but it's her aunt.
Yeah.
And the reason I feel like did they explain the reason as to why it was May and not the other twin?
Yeah, because
Because it would be
So-
Masaki. Is that what?
yeah, that because her first name is Masaki,
I,
and if she
I,
would have been given to her, it would have been Masaki. So
would-
instead, it was, yeah, whatever.
I remember watching that and being like, I get it, but like, couldn't you?
It was Zoom.
Wait,
Whoa.
what?
What?
You good?
I don't even know who that was.
It's
Just grab it.
zoomed over my head, basically.
Oh, really?
R/whoosh.
All right, can we talk about the cunt of the group?
Who's the cunt
Who?
of the group?
Izumi?
Who?
Every other character.
Every other character.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite character isn't even like one of the main characters.
Who's your favorite character?
My favorite character is Naoya, the
Yeah,
athletic dude.
Tishigawara.
Yes,
I
I
just
liked him a
whitewashed on
lot.
him.
Jack boy.
He
just 'cause
he
I'm-
was a good
yeah.
character.
I like
I
him
like
most.
his character.
Until he killed the guy. He killed the
Okay,
cunt.
well.
Tried to.
Kazumi.
Yeah,
He
it
tried
takes
to. He
a
tried to.
turn, But at the same time, it was an accidental murder.
So it
Because
happens
he
like
was
that.
on
Railing.
the edge.
Sometimes
he
you
was
accidentally
on-
kill somebody. Been there.
Sometimes you just
Yeah, you haven't been
wrestle
there
with your
before?
friend and you just throw him over the railing on the second story.
And then he just
Yeah.
falls, and then you run into your other friends like, "Yo, help me!" And the other guy's like, "No."
Would you help your
What?
buddy in a murder? Would you help me if I killed
If you killed,
somebody?
if you killed like other Nick, I don't know.
Just saying. We gotta have
Right,
a watch
yeah,
party.
I
We
don't
gotta.
know.
I'm
Loose
very
ends.
conflicted because at the same time, I would want to help you. At the other time, though,
You would?
I am not going down with you.
Okay, I'm
We
Put
need
calling,
to have
yourself
a-
in the protagonist's shoes.
I'm
Think
calling
of
the
it-
police.
Think of it like you're in a world where only 3 other people have a personality and everybody else is literally just
Everybody else is just cannon
template.
for this.
They're just a blank
curse.
template.
Everybody that they showed a violent death.
would
in
help
the
him.
movie.
Kazui Sato is. I don't.
No.
I don't know what she did.
Sato.
Kazooie.
Dude,
Is she
we
the
need to have
one
a
that
watch
fell on the
party and
umbrella?
watch the live action.
I wanna.
There's
Can
a
we do
live
that?
action.
Did you know the live
There's
action?
a live action. It got a
The live
5.8.
action came out the exact same year as the anime.
Okay,
Let's watch it.
I'm down.
Apparently, it's,
Let's live stream
I
it.
don't even know.
Hey,
Live
everybody's
stream.
watching.
We don't need to do what
In
we were
the
actually
future,
gonna do afterwards.
we
should
might
just
Sorry.
live stream this.
Yeah.
Sorry to butt in. Can I mention my favorite character?
Yeah,
This
go
whole
for it.
anime?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not,
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not even really up for debate. I feel. I say it.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I'm
Sakaki
scared.
Bara's dad.
Wait,
Oh,
who?
dude.
India's
India's
hot.
so
hot.
hot.
God dang.
No,
Is
I
that what
think
you
I think
said?
I think my
That's
favorite
like all he
character
said.
is my favorite character goes like this. Dasta! Right, Dasta!
Bird
Okay,
man.
Since we're on the topic of favorite characters, my favorite character is the librarian. Simply for the fact that the crazy chick who was like trying to like kill other people, he just straight up took the bat from her and was like, "Yeah, you're not gonna do this," and then she just turned around and ran away. She's
Oh
just
yeah,
like, ah,
the
he just
professor.
treated
The
her-
professor.
Audibly tisks. She's like,
like,
The
"Cheh."
yeah.
and
then
then
The
she walks
librarian's
away and you're
actually
like,
super
"Wait,
cool
you
though.
have
Why does he still work at the school? God
I don't
damn.
know.
He felt guilty.
feels
No,
so-
he felt guilty. He felt
He doesn't
guilty.
But at the
really-
same time, he put himself
Staying
in a
there is not
position-
going to help you, bud.
He put
I know.
himself in a position to where he could just watch these kids die, but at the same time, he had no connection to any of them, so he couldn't die himself.
I think he low-key kind of likes
I
it.
wonder, is
think
that
he
the
does.
same?
That's
The
why I
more I
liked him.
stare at the word another, the more I want to like not look at this word anymore. It looks really weird.
wanna look at
if we're
another
talking about
word?
teacher- If we're talking about the sensei, the teacher, right?
That word.
Is that his first year with class 3, or is he just like
No,
very lucky until just now?
At what point did he kill his
Does
mom?
this school just go through a
Why would
million
he take this
teachers
job?
a year?
Never mind. That's going back to the last question.
At what point did he kill his mom?
It's fine.
Dude, you guys are asking
Like
Yeah,
the,
weird
the
what
morning
point
of,
was,
the
like,
morning
bedridden
before he
sick
killed
mom?
himself.
That's
Do you
true,
see
but-
her
Yo.
body though?
Yo, can we go into
She's
favorite death now?
definitely
Can we go into
look
favorite death?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
bring up his mom.
Let me,
Don't bring
Yeah,
up his
favorite
mom.
death.
Ask you guys. I want to ask
Let's-
you guys, what were your like, if you were to pick one of what a million in this show, what's your like favorite death? It could be like funny, or it could be like just the most impactful, or just list them off real quick. Let's
What?
Start at the top, Nick.
your
Go.
favorite death, your favorite
Alright.
character death.
I
Bring it
have a
down,
really
dude.
stupid favorite one. I've been
Let's go
thinking
with
about
Nick
this
first.
for a little
Nick,
bit.
I've been
More
thinking about
than
mine for a while too.
I'm already going. You can't stop.
I have mine. If you,
It's not even really a death. I'm going, dude. Don't worry about
You're
it.
going? Okay, go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going.
even know. I'm calling it a death.
Show me
It's
that
probably
sneaky death.
almost. It's definitely a death, but you
Is
don't
it
see
like
it.
you're in? Is it like
It's the
your
dude
soul?
that was hyperventilating and was being trucked off to the hospital. There's no
Dude.
way. There's no way they got there.
Yeah,
This dude was
he
like,
had
"This
a heart
kid's dead.
attack.
I'm
Dude,
getting
this
out
They're
of the
like-
car and I'm
mid-death
running back."
now.
No,
They were
he
like-
turned around.
Definitely
Where's my?
dead.
I have asthma.
And they were like, he has a
Wonderful.
heart attack. Wait, was the heart
He is
attack?
still in
here?
the
No,
woods,
that's a different kid.
wheezing
There's
to death.
two
Oh,
sick kids,
oh
remember?
yeah. I remember this one now.
No, they
Yeah,
brought the
that's
car
epic.
back. They showed his dead body.
Did they?
No,
Oh,
that
well,
was a
yeah,
different
perfect. Then yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay.
My
Perfect.
favorite. My favorite is split between two, which isn't. I guess they're not fit.
Well, you
what,
only get one.
I only get one.
Yeah,
Okay.
sucks.
Even
Yeah.
though it's my segment.
Wait, it's not
Yeah.
even your turn. It wasn't even your turn to go. It's
Listen.
Eli's turn.
Oh,
Yeah.
we going on the line?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here I go. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Who
All
do you
right.
think you are to
Welcome
run
to
this
the podcast, Curtis.
I have taken
Yeah,
over the
God.
podcast. It is now my podcast.
I
I'm-
will kick you from this Discord.
I'm glad that I got to speak early on because I feel like someone would have stole it. My favorite is the dude that just straight up gets struck by lightning.
That was
Like,
pretty
Oh,
dude,
in
good.
the flashback.
Imagine your unluckiness.
You're like, I brought an
Oh,
umbrella.
yeah.
You're like
I'm not
walking
getting rained on.
down the
Ka-chee!
shrine path. Just.
Curtis was really a natural
Kachiga.
disaster.
Kachuga, kachuga.
And then the girl that like after that happens, everybody runs and she just
Slips and
plummets.
just boop, 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 boop.
She just runs
Yeah.
straight off the edge, basically.
That was her own fault.
Yeah.
Just
It
like
was.
just like the first, like the
There were a
quote unquote
couple.
first death in the class that just
Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk
runs
about
up
it.
the
We're getting
staircase
there.
and
We're getting there.
impales herself.
Yeah.
Like,
with
hello.
Okay.
Okay, so who's
So-
next? Ethan?
My favorite death was you know when the chandelier fell on the group of kids like running out.
Oh
Well,
shoot!
it
yeah.
didn't kill. No, no, no.
Where this is
It
going.
didn't kill all of them.
Oh,
This guy like
yeah.
crawls out from underneath it, and then runs towards the door, and then just a pillar just kind of clocks him out of nowhere. I don't know
That
about you
has to
guys.
be a reaction gif, right?
Yeah,
That is
I've seen it a million
I saw
times.
that reaction.
I
video
freaking
before I
love
saw
that.
the
Like
show.
every time,
Okay.
both times I've watched the show now, I just die laughing because this dude's just like, "I'm getting out of here, Scoob," and then boom.
And he gets zoinked.
Yeah, nice.
My
Nice.
turn.
Yep.
All right, so I'm not gonna go with a Mimi death
Oh,
Okay.
because that's boring.
Maybe,
and
maybe
that's
that's
too
the better.
Is
That's
it?
unoriginal. Mine
off.
was the lead of countermeasures death
where she just kind of
man.
gets like
That was
strapped.
brutal.
because okay because it
God.
was pretty brutal like
She
that
gets
that would
Tony
suck
Stark.
getting like exploded with a bunch of freaking glass.
Saw
But
it in Spider-Man 2.
she was I kind of didn't really like her. But then
I
it
liked
also
her.
kind of cleared up a whole story. Like it actually had
Where she meets
It had
some like
impact.
character
Yeah, it had,
development between her and the main character, and I was like, wow, this is kind of sad.
well,
That's
you
one of
put a
my
lot
pet
of thought into
peeves,
your
actually.
death.
It had good music behind it.
Can-
It was
can
it
you
was
go
actually a
into-
good death.
That's one
Can
of my
you go
pet
into
peeves
that
in the
character
show.
development though?
Yeah, can you
like-
can you give us a little bit more of those
What
character
what
development
exactly
for her?
was their interaction? Like
Yeah.
what
Okay,
was
well,
the flashback?
from the beginning. Okay, it was a very weird like.
It made no
flashback, I guess.
sense.
It didn't
The
make
any
flashback
sense.
was so
It,
strange.
it was a very weird flashback.
I remember. I
that,
met
like,
you a year and a half ago. I touched your
They
hand.
forced it in there real hard.
I touched your hand a year and
Okay.
a half ago. I'd never forget a hand.
I fell down a hill. That was wild.
But
I
did
fell
it
down a hill and
actually-
threw a can at somebody. Then I
Yeah,
touched
she
your
got
hand.
it,
I
Kira.
remember
No.
that.
Did it actually happen though?
Yeah.
Because
Cool.
She's
I
not the
like that.
fat,
because
so
no wait
probably.
wait
like
did
it.
it because he actually had like no clue of it happening, and why wouldn't he remember that?
because okay,
No,
listen,
it's
this
because
is
his
why.
collapse lung. Oh,
It's
sorry.
because the reason he was there was because of his aunt's death. So if his aunt became revived and it altered the memories, he wouldn't even remember why he was there. So
That's
thus he
true,
wouldn't
yeah.
remember the event.
So it
my-
was kind of more leading. That also led more into the fact that you knew that the death was gonna be
His
tied
death.
more to him.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
dead
quick-
person
quick-
was tied
quick
to
I
him.
thought he was gonna be the
Fair
dead
enough.
person first time.
Sure it
Quick
is,
little
Chris, go
question
ahead.
for y'all.
It wanted you to think that.
Yeah,
Okay,
Chris,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
She asks him, "Do you remember me?" In that scene, like she's on her deathbed. She's
Do you
impaled
remember?
by a
She's
thousand
not on
pieces
bed,
of
she's-
glass.
She's like up against a
Um,
wall.
And he literally is just like, "No, not really."
He's like, "My
he's
bad."
so chill. Like there's fire in the building. Would you? I feel like I would.
Just say
cry.
yes.
Just
Yeah.
say yes.
Well,
it's
no,
fine, don't be
Even
a
she said
jerk.
that. Even she said that. Like she like had a tear go down her face and she like her
She's like, "Do you
final
don't
words. She's
remember
like,
me,
you
do
could
you?"
could have at least said yes or something like that.
Yeah.
She's like, you could have at least pretended you remembered.
It just ticks me off.
It's so
like, that's why I-
sad.
That's why I don't like that, like the main character very much. He's like, dude, just lie. Like,
I
I
thought-
get it, but
I also thought it was pretty comical when like the head of countermeasures, was like chasing Misaki to kill her at the end. She'd like punch her and like beat the crap out of her, and they'd fall, like the staircase fell over, and every time May would just like get up and slowly walk
I
away. I'm like,
She's
noticed
what?
like, I got something to do real quick. Hold on.
Just like, hang on, I left the turkey
like-
in the oven.
She never seemed interested with anything. It was kind of her and
that's
the main
her
character
the whole
both.
show though.
Yeah. Anyways, Curtis, favorite death.
My favorite
He's
death.
been waiting this
Ethan
moment
already
forever.
said one. Ethan already. The one was Ethan's, where the dude just gets crushed by the pillar.
Dude, that's
The
hilarious.
second one is it's the heart attack scene. Because literally nobody has explained anything to the main character. Like, he is so just like, why are we doing any of this? It's like episode 5, 4, and like
Six, maybe?
it's still so vague as to what the actual curse is. And then this random kid is just like, I'll tell you everything right now.
Yeah,
while
then he
we're
freaking-
at this
Then
little
has a
like
heart
park,
attack.
and then immediately he has a heart attack, and you're like, that really, like, just.
It's like, really?
I just think it's really funny how he's finally just like, you know what? I'll do it. And then just, it's kind of like the lightning where it just,
Yeah.
it's like, no, you now.
Can I
You're
mention
gone.
how? Can I mention how after that, if this goes, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the protagonist goes back to school the next day and is like, hey, where's Billy? It's like, you
Yeah.
wouldn't know by then.
Where's little Timmy? Like,
Yeah,
He had a
where's
heart
the
attack
kid
right
up
in front of
today?
you.
I hope she's okay.
yeah.
It's like, I think he was like having a heart attack or something, but I'm not sure. That everybody's just like, yeah, no, he actually had a heart attack. We were just
Yeah, he passed away like right in front of you. I don't know if
He
you
actually
saw
was
that at
like
all.
on the ground, like
Yes,
eating out of
Saki
his
bro, you
mouth.
actually killed him. Shut up. Don't talk to anybody. Go sit in your corner.
Yeah, go hang out with your friend and have
No
have a
remorse.
fantasy about you and her dancing in the class.
That was weird.
I like that
scene,
part.
yeah.
I like
liked
that.
it though.
I liked it. It was good.
Character development at its
Was it?
finest. I don't know.
I will server mute you.
Okay, so favorite deaths are over. Let's move on to we've been roasting the show. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. But let's move on to our favorite moments. What did we actually enjoy about the show? Let's start with Nick again, because
Yeah.
this should be the best.
I mean, I don't- the whole beach episode was. I'm not gonna lie.
You might
Yeah.
cut out there something.
He's trying
oh,
so hard
hello.
to find something. Like,
No, I have things.
Just start
The beach episode, not for the fan service, but for the fact that it actually felt like it was trying to be an anime for a second. I really appreciated that. Like,
I like
the characters talk to each other and like distinguish themselves, and I was getting excited.
it gave them personality. Yeah, yeah.
I just like the diddies. Sorry, I had to say it in
Can we
French.
say it?
Not
The
getting on
the
iTunes
chick
now.
with the pigtails, the head of countermeasures, had best. Tits.
Akizawa.
She had the best.
Best
rack.
tids.
Yeah, she had the best tids.
You all need to chill.
Titties.
Ethan, I thought you were a Flat is Justice member.
Yeah, that's
I
why
am.
May is the best.
Yeah, this is your
Yeah.
segment now, I guess.
I like
Somebody else
titties.
go.
No,
Ethan's
it's
No,
my
okay.
favorite part.
What?
The whole beach episode was your favorite part.
Yep, Nick
For
like
me?
the anime.
For me, I mean,
trope.
yeah, sure. I don't.
This is
Sure.
weird.
Yes.
All
This
right,
is making me feel
go
weird.
Ethan.
Okay.
Or no, it's Eli. My bad. My bad.
Oh.
Ethan goes first.
Okay.
Oh, Ethan goes first.
I go
ah.
first. Here we go.
Oh,
All
fuck.
right, you guys ready for this? My favorite part of the
No.
show. All right. Okay. Tell us how you really feel, Nick. My favorite part of the show was when I first watched it. That suspense you got when you think that she's the ghost, but then she's not the ghost. Like for the first like 6 episodes, we have no idea what's going on. I think that is fantastic, and then they just kind of ruined it with everything else. Like
I
the whole
remember
second half just kind of
distinctly-
ruined the suspense and the build up. Where you're like, oh shit, she's not real, but
Yeah.
he can see
Yeah.
her. Like
I
thought that
agree.
was really good. and re-
'Cause
I have
it's
something
well
something
done.
to add on to that. In like the first like 3 or 4 episodes, it would randomly like flash pictures of creepy dolls, and I was like,
I
this is
hated that.
spooky. But why did it do that and then stop doing that? Like that was
Because
so
that's
cool.
Where that's where her doll
They ran out
story
of
gets
budget.
fully explained, and you're like, oh, okay.
They ran out of
Like,
dolls
it
in the
wasn't that
show.
scary after all.
After
were
all, it
just
turns
not-
out her mom just
They're
likes
not that
dolls.
spooky.
And makes dolls.
True. Fair fair enough. All right, Eli,
Dolls
favorite
aren't
part.
scary.
My favorite part, just as
Except
well, I
Chucky.
loved the beach episode. It was actually some character to that. Like, finally we got something besides the girl with glasses. She sat in the back the entire time.
What about
She
the
got
dude who
rammed
got
once.
ran
That was
over?
funny.
Boat
Yeah,
tune.
excited. That okay.
He
Listen,
got his own
the whole thing about like, oh man, the curse actually might not follow you out of the town. Can we talk about the weather just suddenly changing whenever like the thing is brought up, and then that's how the beach ball flew away? Like,
Yeah.
weather
How
don't just do
unrealistic.
that.
No, man, it's
Yeah,
just a random
crazy.
Well,
wind
actually,
draft.
if you think about it, weather kind of just do that because
Yeah, maybe here in the
where we
Midwest.
live,
we live
where
in- we
it
live in
does do that. We
Oklahoma,
had
Why are we drawing the
tornado-
line there? is my
we only
Today-
had
question.
tornado
today
warnings today.
I
The
had
lines in
today
the weather.
today I
Okay,
started
the
work.
weather was really took me out of it.
I
Yeah,
started
destroyed
work.
my immersion.
It ruined.
I started work today. It was sunny, and then like in 30 minutes there was tornado sirens going off,
and then
And now it's
tomorrow
gonna
was
snow.
flooding, snow.
and then
Yeah,
it's
as
snowing
it does. And
tomorrow,
then
and we're gonna
Sunday
finish.
it's
We're gonna
supposed
finish
to be
Sunday
60.
off 60 and
At a
70.
nice 70.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
It's
I
ju-
love the beach episode.
Oklahoma's
Had a lot
anime.
of person. What?
Oklahoma's an anime.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't tell people where
So-
you live.
Yeah, I loved how the jock had something.
I live in
Boys!
California.
I'll give you my exact address right now on on stream.
You know my social security.
Eli, are you done?
Hey Travis, you just want to go, man? You're fine.
No,
Go
finish your
ahead.
finish your thing.
He wasn't finished.
Yeah.
You just go ahead.
Honestly, Travis, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It didn't even.
We're doing so good at
Give
not
us your favorite
cursing.
part right now.
Oh my
You're on the
god.
spot.
Well, okay, so my favorite part is gonna be very original. It was the beach episode.
Really? Dang.
But-
All right,
It's
Curtis,
almost
what
like
was your
it's the
favorite
only
part?
good part of the show.
I gotta
Okay,
think
wait,
of a new
wait,
favorite.
I'm gonna skip you.
wait. No, in the beach episode though, I had an
Professor
actual
X
favorite
Dennis.
part.
Overachiever.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your actual favorite part?
I liked the competition that they did.
The
Mhm.
watermelon
You
competition.
seem
They
like
like
actually
they even
a thing.
yeah, they like split the it was like some friends hanging out. I was like, this is wholesome. This is
I will say
the-
if-
it like it gave them a glimpse at the normal life of what they should be living, but yet they're stuck in this crap shoot of a life that
I have
that
two
they get
points
killed.
to add to this. One, I like how that episode starts with the watermelon splitting, but it looks like blood, so you're like, wait, who is it now?
Who'd they
Yeah.
kill?
That was good. I like that.
Also, the
Wait, I
fact
didn't
that
even
they-
catch
they're
that. I
just-
thought it was
they're-
just someone getting blown up by a boat.
Yeah, the fact that they're just completely normal on at the beach doesn't really fit in. Like, I get that you're
Yeah,
just
really
like,
just
this is a
destroys your
break
immersion.
episode.
I like the weather.
At this point, they
Listen,
lost
the weather
like,
bothered
I
me.
think
I'm
8
sorry.
people, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, how are you just gonna go to the beach and play games with your friends?
Because that's what
Well,
they were
for
trying to
break.
do. They were trying to get away over the break.
It's summer break.
I know.
Yeah.
but
They were also going there to
like-
like find out information. And they're
So
like,
what was
oh,
your-
yeah.
They were-
If
they
the
were
beach
sleuthing.
episode was so bad, Curtis, what was your favorite part,
No,
Mr.
I'm not saying
Expert?
it's bad. I'm not saying I like the beach episode. My favorite part is actually a part that made me mad, but then I thought about it again and I was like, that's smart though. Was in when they're in what is it, the hotel or at
Sure,
near the
yep.
end, where the girl gets on the intercom
Not
and it's
sponsored.
like, "Yo, if you kill the ghost, it ends." And she's just like so
Battle Royale.
because she's the ghost. And then shit just hits the fan back to back. Everybody's just dying
Turns
left
into
and
Call of
right.
Duty
and
So you
Mobile
liked
Battle
the
Royale
climax
edition.
of the show.
I definitely think the climax was my favorite
Alright.
part of the show.
So
and
Curtis
I
is a
think
climax
that
Okay.
part
fan.
specifically made
But
me angry. How dare you
Everyone
just
was
blame
so
it on
quick to
May?
pick up a golf club and chase her. Everyone's like, well, okay.
Yeah.
But you
Well,
gotta
I mean,
think
if you're
like
at that point
No,
where
yeah.
people, if there's already a fire, like people are actually like they've already like what 2 people
Yeah.
have died so far.
Are you
in
saying
that
you wouldn't kill
episode
somebody if
alone?
there's a fire?
Dude, hold on.
Like, in this
Can I say something real quick?
situation, I'd be panicking. You can't think
Yeah,
clearly
I
in a
agree with Curtis
situation
here.
like this.
Yeah, I would
There's
want
no
to. This is
reason.
like the
It's
first time the
fair
whole
that they lose
show.
their mind.
This is the first time in the whole show that the characters actually act like they don't die.
And they
Yeah.
finally get a thing like, hey, if you kill the ghost, which is Misakime, it's not, but that's what the lady says on the intercom. It ends, and all these characters have just been tortured like for
Yeah.
months, I guess, in the show.
Yeah.
That's
They're-
a good point for them to snap and finally go
Okay,
at it.
But can we talk
Exactly.
about the 2 guys that Sakakibara told the fire about, and they walk out to the thing and they say, he said there's a fire. I don't see one.
Opens the door.
No,
Explodes.
no, they're just like, guess it isn't. And they're like, you smell that? Yes, it smells like fire. Yeah, but I don't see it, so it must not be happening. Hey, what's that?
One more thing, the manager of that place,
Why
Was
did they
she
go
just-
crazy?
was she just
Why?
crazy? Was she
They
just
were
crazy
the
the whole
The
time?
curse.
They were
It
the
actually
students'
made me go crazy.
grandparents. They were
Oh,
a student's grandparents.
Yeah, that's
Or
true.
uncle and
Okay,
aunt,
okay,
something
never
like
mind.
that.
It did
Oh,
say
so
that. I
they were
forgot about
mad.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, they went crazy.
Well,
Who did
the
she
curse
kill?
also makes you go crazy.
It showed the
She
grandma like
killed-
standing in a room. Did she just
She
kill one of
killed
the?
the old guy.
The grandma
that was
Yeah.
killed
in
the
room.
husband.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but then
then
it showed
started
her
chasing-
standing in a room. It showed her like standing in a bloody room. They thought they
with
get.
with like
Makes sense.
with like a knife.
Yeah, she thought that they killed like Misaki, but or not Misaki. The professor.
Someone died.
There was
Yeah,
a lot of
like
death.
that.
I feel like
there
there
was
was
a lot of
more
death.
students that went on that field trip than there was left in the classroom.
Then they were in the
Right?
classroom. I
Yeah.
thought that too.
I was like, why are there so many people dying? I feel like there's more people dying in this episode than there was in the classroom originally.
Yeah, and at the end they're like only 8 people died or something
Well,
like
it's
that. I was
not.
like, what?
It's not just the students. It's also.
But there's 6 that
family
got hit by that
members.
chandelier.
Yeah, but there was like 6 or
Triple
7
kill.
I thought it was only 3. Was it really that many?
Triple kill.
mega kill.
Jesus.
Listen, I'm just trying to get a
Chandelier
mega kill
had a
with a
shutdown.
chandelier. Chandelier
So-
got a tactical nuke.
Curtis, are you done with your favorite moment?
I think
or-
we're done. I think we got all of our feelings out about our favorite deaths, and I got
Lit.
my edginess out, and I feel.
It is time for our favorite part of the show.
You said
Wait,
that
no, I thought we
last.
just did that.
Take it away, Nick.
All
Wait,
right.
that's what we just did.
No.
Welcome to part 2
Oh.
of Need or Not. This is the part of the show where I take the things that I didn't enjoy that much, but I wanted to enjoy. So I explain them to you guys, and you guys try and make me like them and determine whether they are good or not, whether they are neat or not. So I had a big list. This anime made me a little upset. I've crossed a few out because we covered them. One being the doll thing that just kind of evaporated, and I guess we were supposed to be okay with.
Yeah.
They ran out of
One
budget.
One being the curse being really confusing. Already touched on that. And another being why the hell this is open, which I guess we're just suspending belief on, which is fine. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
you're
from
supposed
like
to.
smallest gripes to big ones. A little small one I had that took me out of the anime a little bit was the sound design. I feel like the music was really loud at times, especially in the beginning when it was trying to be suspenseful stuff. That goodness, I can't focus on what's going on because my ears hurt.
The alarm.
Yeah, I don't. It was trying really hard to be spooky. There were lots of spooky sounds when nothing really that spooky was happening, and I was thinking to myself, like, if there wasn't this sound in my ears, would I feel anything about what's going on the screen? And I really don't think I would. Does
I
anybody
think
want to
that's
comment?
just I think that's just 2012 production. To be honest.
Yeah.
Because
They
yeah, I
ran out
think
of
I think the sound production is bad, but I think the music actually was pretty good. Like the soundtrack wasn't bad for sure.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they definitely tried to like do the thing where they put you on the edge with the music, where there's like it's like violins. Violins are like super great instruments for putting you on edge because like the slow build up that you can do with it, or I guess just general string instruments.
Yeah, an acoustic guitar. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. But they like there is times that the music worked, and then there's other times where you're just like, oh my god, why is like it, it happens in a lot of shows. You'll be sitting there like watching, and then you're like, "Oh my god, why are the cicadas like ear raping me right now?"
I'm gonna say 2012 production.
I made note, especially on the last episode, I went back and rewatched. There's the scene where the two guys that are kind of developed, I don't remember their names, the guy and the painter guy, glasses. They jump out the window away from Stabby Lady, and she like grabs his leg, and I'm not kidding you, like a rock anthem starts playing, like
I remember that.
like
Yeah.
this heavy metal, and it was even
Is that
Yeah.
like
They
is
just
that
put on
when she
jam
some
does the
Slipknot,
creepy
Slipknot in the
turns?
background.
I was very confused, but I kind of liked that one actually. So I'm gonna say it was fine. I'm gonna say it wasn't neat and it wasn't not. It was just what it was.
It was there.
Um,
It
it
was
was
ore.
there. Some music happened during the anime.
It was
Check
ore.
it out if you want to.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like 6 minutes into the episode or something like that.
You'll find it.
Yeah. You know
Okay, next thing.
Yeah.
I thought all of the deaths were very predictable. Even the first one. Like you
Yeah.
kind of knew somebody was gonna die, and when it happened, I wasn't shocked. I was just kind of like, okay, this is how this is gonna start. And then everyone after that was like, oh, the episode's about to end, someone's gonna die, and then they did, and I was just like,
I can explain this one too.
okay, hit me with it.
Okay. I don't think the deaths were meant to be shocking. I don't think they were meant to be the actual horror aspect. I think they were
Okay.
just meant to be part of like the gore, like
They did
that
that.
part of the.
It's
Yeah,
just a
it was
gore
gory. I
fetish
think it was
thing.
just. Yeah, I think it was just to add in the gore.
I
But
think some.
in my
Um,
eyes, I don't think the deaths were ever meant to be scary. If they
Mhm.
were, then they definitely did really
Mhm.
blow the ball on that because they weren't suspenseful or
Hold
scary.
hold on to that idea though,
Okay.
because I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay.
Next thing, I got a couple more. Kind of talked on this a little bit. The whole twist, the big twist of the anime. I think I'm not sure because it's that confusing, but correct me if I'm wrong. The twist I think is that what's her name? The aunt is also the teacher.
Reiko.
Yeah.
She's a student teacher. She's like
I
a
was
helper.
confused on it too. I didn't know it was
She's the
supposed to be a
teaching
twist.
I
and
went
thought
through
was
the
just
whole
stupid.
anime, like assuming they were the same person, but that they called her a different name because she was like a teacher and she had a different title or something. They didn't explain that at all. It was not surprising in the least. It was just really confusing. And then when she died, I didn't care because I didn't know who was dying.
Are you telling me the whole Clark Kent thing
Oh.
where she puts on glasses and gets a ponytail doesn't immediately throw you off from
Wait,
the
I
fact
don't know.
that she's
Maybe I'm
Call
just
me
too smart
smooth
for this
brain.
anime
Why-
or something.
Call me
Why-
smooth
why would-
brain, but it definitely,
can't believe it.
definitely. Wait, what?
I didn't expect it at all.
I didn't expect it. So I guess
'Cause-
me and Travis are just smooth brain.
Okay,
Okay,
my brain is just too
I'll admit,
big,
the
I
first
guess.
time I watched
He has
it,
too
I
much
literally
grooves
didn't
in his
notice
brain.
where this
On that point though, on that point, why when he killed her did he say what's her name? One second.
Reiko.
Rico.
No. Okay. Yeah, I think he just said. He said goodbye, Reiko. Goodbye, mom. Why
He
did
didn't
he
say
say
that.
that?
Oh,
think
oh,
that
yeah,
only
yeah, yeah.
connection
You
he
said,
has
The,
with
the
his
screen,
mom.
the screen goes black, and he said like goodbye. He said goodbye, Reiko, and then the screen goes black, and then it pauses for a second. He goes goodbye, mom.
because it's like
I
the only
think it might be
connection to
just
his
'cause
mom he
he's
had.
the maternal figure in his life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
And also,
And
like,
she
Because
Yeah.
that was a little sad, but I didn't quite understand it. But I was like, that's a little bit.
wasn't
It's
a
like
tearjerker
it's like
for sure.
it's like trying to like hit the the sad spot.
Yeah.
And give a little bit of character.
as he
I was like,
murders his own
and-
aunt with a pickaxe.
well,
There
Some
were-
that was
Minecraft
pretty
level
sad.
shit.
Meanwhile, May is just like, do it. Like,
Dude,
Yeah, she's
right
sitting in the
behind
background
him.
with her two different colored
She's
eyes.
literally right behind him and hands him it, I think.
well,
Yeah,
okay,
she does.
there's much better items to kill someone with than a pickaxe. That sounds awful.
Well,
Well, why was there a
and
pickaxe
that,
in a
or,
logging
I don't know,
area?
fire? Like,
It was like out in the shed, but
Why
It's
was there a
whatever.
pickaxe in a logging area? There should have been an axe.
true.
would've
See,
been-
no,
yeah, that
because
doesn't
that's
make
not
sense.
brutal. I could chop off someone's head.
Breaks
Could
my
I stab
immersion.
a pickaxe through someone's neck? No, that sounds
That's
awful.
where we're drawing the line.
yeah.
Pickaxe
Is there a
too
pickaxe
brutal.
there?
Is a
You could
little
beat
too-
someone to death. Somebody could
Pickaxe
get
is a little
crushed
too
by a
much.
falling pillar, but a pickaxe.
No,
You
the-
can get
the-
killed
the-
by a random digger just like coming through your
A what?
What'd
ru-
you just
a
say?
digger, like a digger, a track hoe.
yeah.
Wait, what'd you call me?
I call
We
it a
did
digger.
not- first of all,
Okay, moving on. Stop.
Okay,
Stop.
moving on.
But it like just
Okay.
came through the window and
I'm
killed
gonna-
the dude
I'm
while
gonna-
he's playing on his computer.
We get it. It was dumb, and I'm gonna say that it was not cool.
Okay,
It
I
was
agree with
bad.
that one.
I agree with that.
I'm not. You can't convince me there.
Because I'm.
I left the deaths being predictable thing up in the air a little bit because this is my final point and probably my biggest problem, or one of my biggest problems with the show. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel when I'm watching this. I don't know what kind of anime I'm watching. I was never scared. There was a little bit of suspense that they threw away. There was very little emotion that I felt towards any of the characters. Like, what kind of anime was this, and what did they do to like push me to feel a certain way?
Do you want me to tell you what it is?
Yeah, Curtis,
It's for
tell
people
me.
like me that just want to see the characters suffer.
Oh my gosh.
That's literally it.
It
I-
It's not
definitely.
for
It's
for people
partially.
like me that see like bad stuff happening to characters in a show and being like, heh. Like that's it.
Holy
That's the
crap.
whole
Yeah,
point.
it's partially.
That's
It's
why that show's
partially.
popular.
Yeah, it's partially the gore kink,
Yeah.
but it's
I don't have a
also
gore kink, by the
supposed to
way, I
be
just
kind of
think-
a psychological
Uh-huh.
horror.
You
It,
said-
it
you-
definitely
you-
starts
you
off as a
said
psychological. Like,
that if it was
suspense
trying to be,
thriller.
it starts off that way, but
Yeah.
it throws it away almost immediately. It's like, oh, that was just a big trick we pulled on you. Nothing in
And
this
turns
out a little
dollhouse is
sneaky
scary.
on ya.
How-
And turns into a gore
a little
kink.
sneaky.
I feel like this
Yeah.
this would have been
Yeah.
a lot better of a show if it had 24 episodes instead.
I
of
wanted
12.
it to be a mystery because
I wonder
True,
what
it's-
that
Scooby-Doo.
was the one thing that kind of held everybody. You don't know
Well,
what the
it's
ghost is.
listed as a mystery
wanted it-
before. To be fair, it's
Before-
a mystery slash horror.
Okay. Well,
I mean, the mystery is.
But
who's
I
the-
would call
who's
it.
the
It's
extra.
the genres are mystery, horror, supernatural, thriller, and school. But
I love
Oh, wait.
school.
And then it's hair. What
School's
if they just
great.
threw a random element
What's your
in that
favorite
shit?
genre?
masterpiece.
Slice of life.
Romance.
This is the
There was-
1206th most popular. No, it's the 35th most popular anime on my anime list.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
Yikes.
there's a
It
lot
doesn't
of
get
people
much
like
better
me.
from this, Nick.
I'm
We can
gonna
only
say
go down.
I'm gonna say it really did try.
I'm just kidding.
I'll say good job, you
It-
anime.
You get
It
a
was all
You
right.
made me feel
participation award.
slightly uncomfortable at points.
So,
and
is
I-
that all your complaints? Are we done
Actually,
with that?
There
Do you
were
mind
more,
if I
but
add
we
on
we
to
covered them. Yeah, go
Okay.
for it, Curtis. Go ahead.
Can I add on to something? The way you
No.
said that none of the deaths scared you, or you saw them all coming.
Yeah.
There was one death that did scare me. The
Which one?
first time I was watching it through, and the second time. Oh no! What just
Yeah, which one?
happened? Who left?
Continue, Curtis.
the-
There was also one that I
the-
can think of
with-
now that did kind of freak.
With the nurse, right in the elevator.
Yeah.
I don't like elevators. I don't.
Oh.
I think Eli and Ethan know this. I get really jittery in elevators, and I don't
Oh,
like
yeah,
ladders either.
That's
That's a
why I
personal
jump when I'm
problem.
in an elevator with
Because
you.
I have like a
Yeah.
fear of it.
Makes
Like
a
I
lot of
grab
sense
onto the
now.
railing like a small like child that's like grabbing on for his life. Like
Or
I
an
Yeah.
old
I
lady with
don't
bad
like
balance.
it. So the first time I watched that, I actually didn't see it coming because I was like, "Oh, the nurse isn't really involved," and then it happens, and I literally like got like flashbacks to like nightmares. And then the second time when I was rewatching this week, I knew it was coming, and it still made me like I literally had to. I was sitting on at my desk at work, and I literally had to pause it and be like, I need to look at the sun for a second, and like I had to stop, like, calm down because I literally the only way up to my office is via elevator, and I literally was like
Sounds like a fire hazard.
very edgy
Yeah,
the whole
doesn't
time.
sound good. I was scared for one whole frame, and it was a teacher's mom or whatever, and that was the extent of my horror for the whole show.
Yeah, that's fair.
Understandable. So moving from here, because we're just we just hit an hour. Overall ratings. Let's just start at the top. Nick, overall
Um,
rating. Better or worse
um,
than ReZero?
Much worse. I thought ReZero surpassed my expectations, if only slightly. I think I would have given it about a 6.
Okay.
This, I appreciated that it was short because I didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 2. It gets an extra point for that.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
That was low.
my rating for it, I'd have to say first watch, a solid, probably solid 7. Second watch, I gotta give it a 4. Just because the second watch I was just so uninterested. Like, why did they throw away the good part of the show halfway through and just turn it into like some sadist wet dream?
Feel a little attacked.
All right, Eli.
That's why you're
Wait,
here,
you didn't
Curtis.
give a score for the second part
No,
for
it
your
cut out
second
for
watch.
you.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
did-
you
it
did.
did cut
Okay,
out.
I wondered if I cut out or he cut out.
My second watch was a 4.
Oh gosh.
I give it
I feel like it's on purpose.
Stop
now.
it,
I
what?
feel like it has to be.
4.
Funny joke.
I'm not actually doing it. I will
Okay.
rewatch this VOD. You can rewatch it with me.
Somebody
It is in
gift
there.
a new mic.
That was strange. Anyways,
Amazon.
Yeah, buy me a.
my watch,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
somewhere, Mike.
conglomerate my 2 watches.
Okay.
Watching through it again, the 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 bliss of the first time through covers a lot of inconsistencies. Watching it for the second time, there's a lot more stuff I noticed. So if you gotta have some high ratings, you gotta have some low ratings. I saw it as a 4 as well, through and through.
Okay.
It's, ugh.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
me, I agree with Eli. I watched it twice as well, and I mean, I like the genre and I like what they were trying to do, but I think they definitely threw out what made the show good very early on, which made the last like 6 episodes drag on.
Yeah, they just felt.
Like I watched episodes 1 through 6 in one sitting, and I was like, "This is great." And then after that, I kind of walked away for like a week, and then came back and slowly watched the rest.
Right.
But
It
I'm
definitely
gonna
felt
give
like
it.
a chore to watch it.
That's a really
I'm
good
gonna
point. I was at least interested for the.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 6 because I do enjoy the anime and I like what they were going for. It was poorly executed towards the end.
Okay.
Mm.
Curtis, the expert, the
God,
aficionado, the
Don't hold it
connoisseur,
in,
the
Curtis.
edge
Don't hold it
lord.
in. Tell us how
The
you.
new
Tell us
the
how
new
you really
NEET
feel.
podcast leader.
Yeah, well,
No, I was actually kidding when I said that. Don't mute me. Don't server mute me, please.
I will server mute you.
I'll server mute you on our other server.
I have the same powers.
I forget you do.
Anyway,
First watch. Little do you know, this was actually the first horror anime I've ever watched.
really?
Back in because in 2012, I had read up to current of the Naruto manga, and I had started getting into
Fucking
anime.
weeb.
Exactly. Like legit checking out manga in the library. Like
They have that in the library? I didn't go to the library much.
Redacted. Wait, fuck.
I was
Cut
gonna
that out.
say, Okay.
I just gave away the location.
I'll just
Keep on
bad
moving.
word
Keep
that.
on moving.
Bleep it. Bleep it.
I'll bad word it.
No. So at the time, it like blew my mind, and it actually is what got me into like horror in general and like a general concept. At the time I would probably give it like an 8 or a 9 because it just blew me away.
Wow.
Now, after so many years of watching it, like went this stuff over and over, I genuinely I'm gonna give it a 4. It doesn't affect me.
After we've
It doesn't impress me. I've read and
numb.
seen way better shows and manga that tackle like the same esque story type. I'm not a huge
Yeah, like
fan
King's
of it.
Game.
Wow. The whole reason we had you here was for you to like fanboy over it. What the
Be like, I give it a
did.
12 out
I
of
Why are
fanboyed
you
10.
over
even
the
here?
genre. Do
Yeah,
you want
why
me to
are you
fanboy over
here?
the genre?
Get
No, no, no,
outta
no,
here.
no. That's for another time. That's for another.
That's for
Experiment
yeah.
never mind. I
And
was gonna
with that
name another
said,
title. Yep.
it is time to move on to the
Oh, fuck.
final word.
Why are you okay?
So, so the final word is there's 10 questions. The questions are best overall character, best scene, most memorable line, worst girl, best voice actor, best episode, character that got too much screen time, character that got too little screen time, best motivational speaker, and saddest moment. I have a random number generator pulled up. I will roll that number generator 3 times, and whatever it lands on is the 3 questions that we are going to ask the person who is chosen. Usually we would randomly choose the person, but since we have a guest on, we thought that we would let the guest get the final word. Curtis, are you ready?
Not really.
Important point here. Everything you. This is the. So what you say is the truth.
Okay.
Can you
Can you
restart
try that
that
again?
statement? You completely cut out.
Can you
Be
try that
very
again,
careful with
acapella
what you
first?
say.
Everything I say is the final word for the
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is-
that's what I was trying
This
to say.
is yeah.
I picked up that.
Okay,
And
cool.
okay, also if you don't know this, Curtis, so you have 10 seconds to answer 3 questions.
I thought last week y'all said you were gonna change that to like 30.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
You have 10 seconds to answer all 3 questions.
If I got screwed, you get
Yay.
screwed.
Time starts
Aw,
after he
Eli.
Yeah,
reads.
Eli went 17 seconds. So
I
Beat it.
helped you get to
beat it
silver
or meet it,
two.
Curtis.
All right, and I got yours chosen.
What are they?
Best voice actor, saddest moment, and best scene. Go.
Best voice actor is May. Saddest scene is the teacher death, the ant death, and what was the third?
Best scene.
Best scene.
Best scene is when the girl announces over the intercom and everybody just goes batshit.
Awesome.
I think he
How'd
made
he
it
do?
under 10 seconds.
Well done. I think he did pretty good.
I think he
Wow.
made it like right at 10. Maybe
I think
10 or
that's
11.
we-
Saddest moment was very generic, but okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only sad moment in the show.
We have
All
to
right,
go with it.
final
now.
word.
Yep,
There it
that's
is.
it. That's it right there.
GG,
Cool.
There
guys.
you go.
Please invite
Thanks
me
for
back
watching,
whenever you
everyone.
guys-
So, thanks for joining in. It honestly means so much that you took the time to listen. The next anime we'll be discussing is Kokoro Connect. If you have some thoughts, drop them down in the comment section below. And if you're interested in hearing more, go ahead and subscribe after you hit that like button. We'll be on iTunes soon, so keep your eye out for the NEET podcast there. Peep the description down below for an invite link to our Discord server where you can join in the NEETO community. All right, let's say bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Please
Thanks,
invite me
y'all.
again. This is the only thing I look forward.
All right,
Yeet.
bye, Curtis. I hope you have a
Bye,
good time.
Curtis.
Get
Yeah,
him outta
bye,
here.
Curtis. Okay, he's gone. See you guys.